Hello, once again, this is Brother Teacher with another informative video to help benefit all of our health and wellness, if you will. This particular video is on plastics and microplastics, how to avoid them, and how to even mitigate some of the harm or potential harm that they could cause in our bodies. I don't intend for this video to be very long, but this one, I'm kind of passionate about this one. I'm going to do my very best, and I'm not a scientist per se, so you won't see my collegiate version of this video subject matter. I could go on for a while about this subject, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to hit the fundamentals, the basics for the most part. I love teaching. While I'm on here to let you know that, you probably already know that. But anyway, plastic. Understand this. All of the plastics that we use in our lives, in every respect, the toys that our children play with, the tools or part of the tools that we use in industry, for our homes, our automobiles, the food containers and the food supplies and utensils even that we use, and even the water bottles that we drink out of contain plastic. There are plastic swimming pools that we have at our homes for our little children to play with. Understand this. Before a plastic was ever formed into whatever it was intended to be used for, be that a spatula that's plastic at home, a bowl, microwave bowl, Tupperware bowl, or just a bowl used for a container, period. It was liquid before it became formed into something. It was liquid. And that liquid has a chemical or several chemicals contained therein. Okay? Now, one of the most popular chemicals is what is called BPA, bisphenol A. That's been associated with neurotoxic diseases or conditions, Alzheimer's, and potentially Parkinson's and any other form of dementia, because bisphenol A is a synthetic version of estrogen. And if you are a man, you don't need extra estrogen. Men have estrogen too. Women are supposed to have more estrogen than us. So too much estrogen causes issues in both of us, men and women, especially if women already have their own estrogen supply. And to add synthetic estrogen on top of that causes issues. That's not healthy for us. Bisphenol A is also used in canned goods, in the lining, which is lined with plastic containing bisphenol A. There are some other chemicals there as well. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let me say this to you. As it relates to bisphenol A, you may have seen water bottles that says BPA free, which means that at some point in time, either the Food and Drug Administration found out that it causes health concerns and or issues over time, or the general population, a percentage thereof, found out the same, and they began to complain. So now you see containers that says BPA free. Okay? understand this. BPA, again, is not the only chemical in plastics or used in plastics and the making of plastics. So, brother teacher, what's the issue with plastic, period, if it's solid? Well, if plastic originally was liquid, when it cooled into whatever form they shaped it in, and for whatever purpose it was being used or intended to be used for. With that said, understand this. The industries that made these plastics never thought about our health. They only thought about producing a product for consumers, such as us, to purchase so that they can make a profit. Not truly thinking about the health aspect of it. So now, understand this. When you heat plastic up, it can potentially break down that plastic into micro particles. Micro means so small that we can't see it with our naked eye, but it's there. So, understand this. When you use a microwave oven, what does it do? It heats things up, right? Faster than the conventional oven or stove. So now, when you put a plastic container in there, whatever container you put in there and whatever it's made of, chemicals, it begins to sweat when it's heated. And whatever food is in that container, the sweating of that particular container is going to be absorbed into your food, and you're going to be consuming that. And over a period of time, that's going to build up in your body. And it's going to manifest later on down the road, however long that is for each person, to potentially become maybe cancer or a neurological disease, just to start off. Okay, so when you heat plastic, it's not good. The same thing is true when you have food that you're cooking on the stove and you're using plasticware. Too hot will melt the plastic fork, the plastic spoon, the plastic spatula or whatever. If it's too hot, of course. But understand this, if you're making scrambled eggs and you're using a plastic utensil, you're heating that up. Extreme heat, right? It's sweating while you have it in that saucepan or what have you. And that's going to be absorbed into your food again. And you're going to consume it. So you want to avoid those microplastics, which is what that is. You want to avoid them by using wooden utensils, stainless steel utensils as well. That's the answer, or a potential answer. You want to avoid the microwave when using plastic containers. Don't put plastic containers, even if it says BPA free or a microwavable container. If it says microwavable, do you think the microwave maker company cares about you getting ill? They're going to say, well, we've made a dish that you can put in a microwave now, right? That's plastic. It is still plastic, but don't forget, BPA is not the only chemicals that's used in plastics or plasticware. You also have what they call PFAS, or forever chemicals. This also potentially causes cancer. So you want to avoid that. Now, okay, brother teacher, what about water bottles? I would advise you to use stainless steel water bottles. If you're riding a bike, especially if you use a water bottle on your bicycle, try to find you a stainless steel water bottle. Is it more expensive? It doesn't matter. Your health is more important. Even if you've been used to using a plastic bottle, understand this. If you are in the sun in the summertime and it's extremely hot outside and that water bottle's in that little holder or rack on your bike and it's exposed to the sun over a period of time, that breaks down. Also, while we're on the subject of bottles or water bottles, it's not just the heat that breaks plastic down. It's also acidic drinks such as pineapple juice, grape juice, orange juice, citric acid, malic acid will break down those plastics as well. So vie for stainless steel or glass drinking canisters or bottles, if you will. You just have to be a little bit creative. You follow me? Now, if you have a cutting board used for food preparation, remember we used to use on a regular basis wooden cutting boards. Now I've seen an onslaught over the years, past 10 years at least, of cheaper varieties of cutting boards, plastic cutting board. If you're going to use a cutting board that's plastic and you're using a sharp knife, what are you doing? You're cutting into that board, that plastic, right? I mean, it's not so hard that that knife doesn't penetrate it at some point. Okay? So you're also potentially allowing access into your food by way of that cutting board that's made of plastic. So avoid plastic cutting boards. So I'm looking at my list here. I want to make sure that I don't forget anything. I mentioned the water bottle. And I also mentioned your food containers should primarily be glass or stainless steel. Your food containers. As cheap as it may be, and as convenient as it may be, and as cute as they make them appear to the naked eye, these containers made of plastic, go towards that which is more healthy for us. Use stainless steel and use crockery or pottery, if you will, or glassware in the place of these things. So your water bottles that you buy, 24 count, 36 count, 48 count, however you purchase them in mass, large quantities in the grocery store, understand this. Use your due diligence. Do your due diligence and start to read. Look for bottles that say BPA free primarily. Sometimes we cannot avoid using certain things, but don't let it be the norm. So the water bottles, again, you must understand, a lot of this product is shipped on trucks in the summertime, or trucks that don't have air conditioning. And guess what happens in the summertime in those trucks that are traveling across the roadways and the highways, long distances in the sun, the scalding sun, sometimes 85, 95 degrees, depending on where you are, and especially in Texas, where it's 100 degrees all the time. You're traveling, delivering water and juices in bottles that are plastic. Those bottles are sweating. And that material, those chemicals, have been leached into that product. And guess what? Once it arrives at the supermarket or the grocery store, wherever you're going to be purchasing your products at, you and we are going to be consuming those same microplastics. Do you understand now? So again, just to recap, your cooking utensils should be stainless steel, anything, or aluminum even, anything that is not plastic. If you're going to have to heat it, you never want to heat plastic and then consume and or use that orally after you've heated it. You don't want to use plastics in microwaves again. So your coffee maker, I didn't touch on the coffee maker. A lot of us have coffee makers in our home, and those coffee makers have plastic parts. And when it's brewing your coffee, it usually has plastic parts where that hot water comes past that point into your carafe. Okay, your glass carafe. And the glass carafe should be all glass, right? Now, I wouldn't be overly alarmed about the coffee pot or coffee maker myself, because how often do I make a pot of coffee? And how hot is that going to be? And for how long is that going to be, that water passing through that channel into that glass pot? Now, we just have to simply put our thinking caps on, use some critical thinking and some common sense. Stay away from heating any kind of plastic as much as you possibly can, and stick to the things that I just mentioned early on. And maybe we can mitigate most of these plastics or these microplastics that we may potentially be ingesting. And you can't stop all of it. It's all around us. We even inhale it in the air. And there's some ways to also detox these microplastics from your body. I'll be doing a video on that again. I've done detox videos before, but I'll be doing another one on how to detox potential microplastics in your body a little bit later. That's a little bit more complicated, that video. Well, until then, this is Brother Teacher, always thinking those things that are healthy for us, and I'll see you in the next video. And thank you for watching.